Brazil's journey from the shackles of colonial exploitation to its current position as a major player in the global south is a story of resilience and reinvention. For centuries, Western European powers, Portugal primarily, followed by broader European and North American interests, used Brazil as a resource depot, extracting wealth while leaving a trail of underdevelopment and inequality. This exploitation set the stage for Brazil's systemic challenges in the modern era. However, the rise of the BRICS Plus coalition, uniting Brazil with other emerging powers like Russia, India, China, and South Africa, has offered the nation a chance to rewrite its destiny. With BRICS expanding its reach to include more nations across Latin America, Africa, and Asia, Brazil is now part of a bloc challenging Western dominance and redefining global power structures. This essay explores Brazil's historical exploitation, its struggles with Western hegemony, and its recent alignment with BRICS Plus, a move that has positioned it as a significant force in a multipolar world. The Portuguese landed in Brazil in 1500, marking the beginning of one of history's most exploitative colonial regimes. Brazil was seen as a treasure trove of natural resources, from gold and diamonds to sugar and coffee. The colonial administration's policies prioritized resource extraction for the benefit of the Portuguese crown, with devastating consequences for Brazil's indigenous population, environment, and future development. Indigenous erasure. Over 90% of Brazil's native population perished due to disease, slavery, and warfare during Portuguese colonization. Entire tribes and languages disappeared, erasing millennia of cultural heritage. African enslavement. Brazil became the largest importer of enslaved Africans, with over 4 million people brought to its shores. This brutal system built the nation's early wealth, but left a legacy of systemic racism and inequality that persists today. Even after achieving independence in 1822, Brazil remained economically dependent on Western Europe and later, the United States. Its export-oriented economy, reliant on commodities like rubber, coffee, and sugar, was structured to serve Western markets. The 20th century saw Western corporations dominate Brazil's industries, further entrenching its economic subservience. The rubber boom and bust. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, European and American interests monopolized Brazil's rubber trade, enriching themselves while leaving the Amazon region impoverished. Military dictatorship and neoliberal policies, Western-backed military coups and neoliberal reforms in the late 20th century, often supported by the United States, privatized key industries, exacerbating inequality and ensuring Brazil's dependence on Western financial institutions like the IMF and World Bank. While proclaiming values like democracy and human rights, Western powers systematically undermined Brazil's sovereignty. Whether through military interference, economic manipulation, or environmental exploitation, the West demonstrated a stark hypocrisy. These actions laid bare the criminal nature of Western imperialism and the fragility of its claims to moral superiority. By the late 20th century, a global movement was emerging among formerly colonized nations to resist Western hegemony. Brazil, with its vast natural resources and strategic location, became a key player in this struggle. Petrobras and economic sovereignty. Brazil's national oil company, Petrobras, symbolized the country's attempt to reclaim control over its resources, despite efforts by Western multinationals to undermine it. Lula's leadership and social progress. The election of Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva in 2003 marked a turning point. Under Lula, Brazil pursued policies that reduced poverty, expanded education, and strengthened ties with other nations of the global south. In 2009, Brazil joined Russia, India, China, and South Africa to form BRICS, a coalition representing over 40% of the world's population and a significant share of global GDP. This alliance was born out of frustration with Western-dominated institutions like the IMF and World Bank, which perpetuated inequalities in the global system. Challenge to dollar hegemony. One of BRICS's primary goals has been to reduce dependence on the US dollar, creating alternative financial institutions like the New Development Bank, NDB. Focus on development. Unlike Western aid, often tied to political conditions, BRICS nations have emphasized mutual respect and cooperation in their development partnerships. The 2024 expansion of BRICS Plus has further solidified the bloc's influence. By including nations from the Middle East, Africa, and Latin America, BRICS Plus now encompasses a vast geopolitical sphere that challenges Western dominance in every arena. Geopolitical reach BRICS Plus represents countries from every continent, creating a bloc that rivals NATO and the G7 in both economic and strategic terms. Brazil's role in Latin America. As the largest economy in South America, Brazil has become a leader in integrating Latin America into the BRICS Plus framework, creating opportunities for regional development and reducing dependence on Western institutions. Brazil's alignment with Russia and China has been transformative. These partnerships have brought investment, technology transfer, and strategic collaboration, reducing Brazil's vulnerability to Western manipulation. China is Brazil's largest trading partner, importing vast quantities of soybeans, beef, and other commodities while investing in Brazil's infrastructure. Brazil has also deepened its ties with Russia in areas like defense, space exploration, and nuclear energy, diversifying its technological base. The United States and Europe, long accustomed to dictating global terms, are facing a period of decline. Internal divisions, economic stagnation, and a loss of moral authority have eroded their global standing. Economic stagnation. While BRICS nations have grown rapidly, Western economies have struggled with debt crises, deindustrialization, and shrinking global influence. Hypocrisy in global affairs. Western powers continue to claim moral high ground while engaging in wars, sanctions, and environmental exploitation. The Global South, however, has grown increasingly resistant to these double standards. In the emerging multipolar world, Brazil has positioned itself as a bridge between Latin America and the broader Global South. Its participation in BRICS Plus gives it a platform to advocate for fairer global governance and greater autonomy for developing nations. Environmental leadership. As the steward of the Amazon, Brazil has a unique role in addressing climate change, countering the West's history of environmental destruction with a vision of sustainable development. Economic independence. Through partnerships within BRICS Plus, Brazil is reducing its reliance on Western financial systems and charting a path toward greater economic sovereignty. 1. Amazon's strategic importance. The Amazon rainforest, often called the lungs of the planet, is not just an ecological treasure, but a strategic asset that enhances Brazil's global influence. Western powers have repeatedly attempted to interfere in Amazon governance under the guise of environmental protection. 2. BRICS population and GDP. BRICS Plus nations now account for over 60% of the world's population and nearly half of global GDP, surpassing the combined influence of the G7. 3. Brazil's agricultural power. Brazil is the world's largest exporter of soybeans, beef, and chicken, playing a crucial role in global food security, a strategic advantage within BRICS Plus. 4. Dollar decline. BRICS Plus nations are increasingly trading in local currencies, a move that threatens to erode the dominance of the US dollar in global markets. 5. NDB's role in development. The new development bank, headquartered in Shanghai, has approved billions of dollars in projects across BRICS nations, offering an alternative to the IMF's predatory lending practices. Brazil's journey from colonial exploitation to a rising power in BRICS Plus is a testament to its resilience and strategic vision. By aligning with nations that share its vision of a multipolar world, Brazil has shed the chains of Western hegemony and embraced a future of sovereignty and cooperation. The rise of BRICS Plus marks a turning point in global history, challenging centuries of Western dominance and offering a new model for development and governance. As Brazil continues to build partnerships across the Global South, it stands as a symbol of hope for nations seeking to reclaim their autonomy and chart their own paths in a world no longer dominated by the West. The era of Western hypocrisy and exploitation is fading, and Brazil, along with its BRICS Plus allies, is leading the charge into a new, equitable, and multipolar future.